Okay, so we're going to finish off this question here. So on the last video, on the last lesson, we didn't finish this last question that's there. I gave you the answer and I said, okay, try it. So now we're actually going to go through it. So this is continuation of 7.4. So we're still using substitution to solve linear systems. Now, what we need to do is we need to make these equations easier to deal with. And right now we've got these fractions that are kind of in our way, kind of making it more complicated. If you are good at fractions and if you're good at substitution and fractions and working with them, then you don't need to eliminate the fractions if you don't want to. But let's do that in this case just because it's a little easier to work with, I think. So what is the lowest common denominator that I could use to eliminate all these fractions? 10. So the answer is 10. So what do? I take 10 and I multiply it with every term that's here. All right, so what happens to this first equation then? I end up getting, so if I have a 10 here, the 10 cancels with the 2 and I end up left with a 5. Okay, so I get 5x. And then if I multiply a 10 here, it cancels with the 5 and what's left? 2. So 2 times 4 is 8y. And then if I take the 10 and multiply it by this negative 2, I get negative 20. Okay. Now, what's my LCD that I'm going to use here? 8. So I multiply everything by 8. I put an 8 here. What do I end up with? 8y. How about here? I get an 8 over 4. That reduces to 2x. And if I have an 8 multiplying here, what happens? They cancel. Okay. So now I'm left with these two equations, and this is what I'm going to work with. I need to use substitution. What can you notice here and here? I've got two equations. Is there something similar that I can substitute in for? So I can take this 8y, and notice I have an 8y right here. So I can replace this 8y by writing 2x minus 3. All right, so 5x minus, and instead of 8y, I'm going to write 2x minus 3 equals negative 20. And what do I need to remember to do with that negative? Distribute. Okay, so I've got this now. 5x minus 2x plus 3 equals negative 20. Okay, so let's simplify, combine like terms. 3x plus 3 equals negative 20. Subtract 3 on both sides. 3x equals negative 23. Divide both sides by 3. And we get x is equal to negative 23 over 3. Okay, so that's part of my answer. Now, what do I do with this answer here, with x equals negative 23? I can sub this into the second equation to get y. All right, so what was my second equation? 8y equals 2x minus 3. And then over here, this is where I'm going to put my negative 23 over 3. Okay. Okay. So now 2 times negative 23 over 3 is negative 46 over 3. And I need a common denominator, so I'm going to multiply this by 3 over 3. What's 3 times 3? 9. So that's going to be 9 over 3. So I've got 8y equals, what does it equal? Negative 55 over 3. Okay, I'm not solved for y yet, am I? So what do I need to do? I still need to divide both sides by 8, and then I end up getting y equals negative 55 over 24. So that's the other part of my solution. So the solution for the system is negative 23, and I write my final answer as a set of coordinates, okay? So it's a point. My answer is a point, and that's what I want.